Thanks, Andrew. Meantime, the United Nations renewing its effort to secure Europe's largest nuclear power plant after Vladimir Putin claimed Russian ownership of the site. This as heavy fighting continues near the plant, which has sparked concerns of a potential nuclear meltdown. Let's bring in Michael Allen, former special assistant to President George W. Bush and senior director for counter-proliferation strategy at the National Security Council. Michael, it's always great to see you. It's amazing that you have Vladimir Putin, claiming Zaporizhia, and he keeps trying to take new stuff, and he can't hold on to the old stuff.
You're right. His army is disintegrating. He lost major strategic hubs over the weekend, and things keep getting worse and worse, which has led many people to conclude that the likelihood that he may use a tactical nuclear weapon, either as a demonstration or as something in the field, is becoming increasingly likely. Maybe not probable yet, but it's increasingly likely, and it's at least as likely as it's been at any time in the United States since the Cuban Missile Crisis.
So if I get you right, what you're saying is if he feels like he needs to use a nuclear weapon to hold on to power, you believe he will?
I think that he is trying to make that calculation now of what is going to keep me in office. He faces pressure from the ultra-nationalist right, who is after him because he has made every mistake he could have making along the way, and he's not doing very well. If he thinks that he could use nuclear weapons and that it would achieve some battlefield success, he may use them, especially if he thinks the United States or NATO don't have the resolve to punish him for that. So this is very dicey as we try to consider, the Biden administration tries to consider, what type of response would we have if he used a tactical nuke.
And that's the point, is you say that if, in fact, he were to use a tactical nuke, there has to be a response.
So this is, very dicey, and obviously we're talking about nuclear weapons, but you can see an argument where we have to have a substantial conventional weapons response, or else the message to other countries around the world is, well, maybe we should get nukes as well because you can act with impunity. And in the long run, that's not good for the health and safety of the world to have even more nuclear powers. But I'm not saying it's not a close call. We've got to thread the needle. We, the United States, need to sort of sow strategic ambiguity, so he is backed off, so he is deterred from actually using this terrible weapon.
When you say thread the needle, you mean, you don't want this to be a back and forth thing. It has to thread the needle, it's send a message to retaliation. It is an answer to his nuclear, but you can't let this thing just explode into World War III.
Absolutely. I hope the Biden administration is sending very strong messages through every interlocutor there is that we're going to have a serious response, but we don't want it to escalate beyond a conventional weapons response from NATO or the United States.
Strategically, Michael, I think it appears to the world that he is losing day by day, right?
That's right.
And he sees that, and the world sees that, and I'm wondering, does he re-escalate, or does he, as you have suggested, does he want to freeze this conflict, take what he's got, and get out?
I think he would love it if the West were able to exert pressure over Ukraine to get into some sort of peace talks as soon as possible. That might freeze the conflict for the winter, allow him to reconstitute, and otherwise allow him to say, listen, I've won some territory back.
I got to go, but China's role in this. We thought at the beginning of the war that China was a big ally of Russia. Doesn't appear so much today to be the case.
At a conference a couple of weeks ago, they were substantially annoyed, and you can bet that Biden and others are calling over to Xi Jinping saying, you need to help us with Putin here.
Yeah. Michael Allen, great to see you.
Good to see you.
Thank you. Sandra?
Thank you, Trace. Thank you, Michael. New at 2, another big